Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today we're taking a look at one of my all-time favourite builds in the game. It's the Explosive Blast Wizard. Now you might have heard of this as the Flash Fire Wizard or the Wand of Woe Wizard. Doesn't matter what you call it, it's fast, it does tons of damage, it's quite tanky, it's really good for T16 and really good for keys. Now Tal Rasha is the starting set for the wizard in Season 19, so this is one of your options for GR speeds, but in particular I think it is very good for T16 because it does have a lot of mobility, and we just run around like a huge ball of fire, blowing stuff up. It's a lot of fun. I could genuinely play this build all day long and not get bored. I really do like it a lot. Now I will be covering the other Tal Rasha options in future videos, but if the game drops you the pieces for this, it is a lot of fun to set up and it can go a little bit higher with the GRs, and we'll talk about a few swaps and what it is that we're going to do. But before we jump into everything, I just want to welcome anyone who's new to the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always guys, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated. So in terms of gear, we're going to be taking 5 pieces of the Tal Rasha set, and we're going to be using a Rogue and a Cube. Now you've probably already guessed we're going to be taking the Captain set, and we're also going to be taking our Guild set, so we've actually got 3 set bonuses to go through. But starting with Tal's, the 2-piece, when we damage with any of our elemental attacks, so Arcane, Cold, Fire or Lightning, we cause a meteor to drop out of the sky, and this has got an 8-second cooldown for each meteor. Now this looks visually quite nice, doesn't really do very much, but it's just a cool looking effect, so don't have to worry too much about it. So the 4-piece, whenever we attack with Arcane, Cold, Fire or Lightning, we're going to get a stack of extra resistances, so that's really nice, really big toughness buff. And the 6-piece, again, as we attack with these different element types, we get 2000% extra damage for 8 seconds. Now 4 stacks, we only have to swap between 2 skills to keep the 4 stacks up. But if you think about it, it's an 8000% modifier. We just have to make sure that we've got 1 Arcane skill, 1 Cold skill, 1 Fire and 1 Lightning, and we should be good to go. So there's a little icon in the bottom and that'll tell you when you're at your 4 stacks. Now for this build in particular, it was always a very cooldown heavy build. There was generally resource issues with it, and that makes it absolutely perfect to take the Captain Crimson set with it. So the 2-piece, we get life per second, we also get a huge 20% cooldown, which is great. We also get 20% resource cost reduction. And the 3-piece, we get extra damage for cooldown, so every cooldown roll is extra damage, and every resource cost roll is extra toughness as well. So our toughness is boosted by probably about 30%, and our damage is boosted by way more than that because we are taking a lot of cooldown. One of the nice things about this set now on it is you'll see from the footage I've pretty much got perma resource the entire time, so we don't ever have to worry about running out, which is really nice. Now because Tal's doesn't have any shoulders, we're going to actually take the Guild set as well. This just gives us a really nice elite kill speed, so we basically get a 15% damage reduction and a 30% damage increase on the 2-piece, really nice. But we also get a huge damage reduction for elites of 30% and another 30% extra damage against elites on the 3-piece. Now this pairs really well with the Ingeome because we're looking to put elites down very quickly, and when this goes off we deal a lot more damage because of the way the skills work. Now just quickly whilst we're on this guys, you don't need to worry too much about getting a 10-second one. I've only got 9 on here and it functions perfectly well. 10-second would be better, I would be able to teleport quicker, but really the main skill that we're looking to reduce is Explosive Blast, and that's on a 6-second cooldown, so it doesn't matter what your roll is, you just want a nice ancient one and with cooldown on it. Now sets and multiplier wise, we're also going to be taking Focus and Restraint. When we hit with a resource generating attack or primary skill, we get 50% extra damage for 5 seconds. Again, when we hit with Resource Spender, we get another 50% buff, so that's an over double damage modifier. So again, really nice. We haven't even talked about the skill yet, and that is going to be Explosive Blast. So our Wand of Woe and the Cube is going to give us a pretty big multiplier on it. We're going to get 3 additional blasts, which are going to be triggered as well. Now this can go on the character, doesn't have to be cubed, but as we were saying with the Ingeome, it's probably easier to get an ancient Ingeome because the roll on it doesn't matter too much, whereas this is on a range. But by all means, you can put this on your character. The corresponding offhand is the Orb of Infinite Depth. Now the damage buff for this isn't massive, it's only 40%, so we get 10% and it stacks up to 4 times. But we do get a huge damage reduction from this, so that will be 80% for 6 seconds. So all you have to do is hit with your Explosive Blast, keep it refreshed every 6 seconds, and you're going to have this huge damage reduction to 80%, and the 4-piece of the Tal Rashas is pretty much how we're going to stay alive. So rounding out the gear, Nemesis braces. Obviously this is a speed build. We want to get elites and champ packs off pylons, so these have always been all my builds pretty much, and yeah, just really nice. So looking at the skills, we're going to take one from each element. So we're going to take Shock Pulse Piercing Orb. This covers lightning. This gives us a little orb that flies around the map bouncing off stuff. Makes it very easy for this to actually hit enemies. You know, we just chuck it out every so often to proc the Tal Rasha bonus and also Focus and Restraint. Frost Nova, Frozen Mist. We have to take this rune because this is going to be our cold source of damage. If you take any other rune on Frost Nova, it's not going to work because you actually do damage with this rune. But basically this is kind of like a Frost Nova that leaves a patch damage for cold. It doesn't really do any damage, it's just there to proc the Tal Rasha bonus. Explosive Blast Chain Reaction. This is our damage dealer. It's on a 6-second cooldown, costs 20 arcane power, and basically this is the explosion that emanates from our character. Now, because it's on 6 seconds, once the Ingeum has gone off, this will just completely spam, so we're going to numlock this skill, and it will just completely go off, and we turn into this wizard wrecking ball of fire, which looks really cool. Now, just to make sure we don't have any resource problems at all, we're going to be taking Diamond Skin Prism, so we get a really nice 40% of our life that will boost our toughness for 3 seconds, and whilst this is active we also get a reduction in arcane power spending, so Explosive Blast won't be costing that much resource when this is up, and this is up pretty much all the time provided we've got elites around. Teleport Calamity, this is going to be our arcane source of damage, so when we teleport we do a tiny little bit of damage. Again, it's just to proc the Tal Rasha bonus, it doesn't really damage any enemies, but we will be teleporting quite a lot. Now this is on an 11-second cooldown, so even with a max roll Ingeum, there's still going to be a slight delay in between teleports. You're not going to be able to just completely teleport at will, but it's still pretty quick and you'll get into the rhythm of doing it every so often. And the level of cooldown we've got on the gear anyway does mean that it is pretty quick. Now Magic Weapon, Force Weapon, we've gone for this. You can pop this at the start of the rift and then you don't have to touch it again because it lasts for 10 minutes. Basically it's just a 20% damage increase, so it is really nice. Passive wise, we've gone for Illusionist. This just gives us a 30% move speed after using Teleport, so that's quite handy. If we do take some damage, it will reset the cooldown on Teleport for us. So again, pretty handy, keeps the build very mobile. We want to find our next elite pack and we want to proc our Ingeum again. The build will kill trash. It's not to say that you're an elite only killer, but obviously the quicker you can get to elites, the more damage you do because of your Ingeum. Evocation is going to give us 20% cooldown reduction, so that's more damage from the Crimsons, and just cooldown is obviously handy anyway. Unstable Anomaly, because every so often we're going to cock something up and we're going to be sucked into an explosion and killed. And then finally, Audacity, 30% extra damage to enemies within 15 yards. Complete not a no-brainer, everything's going to be pretty close. Now, the only other passive I probably would consider is Glass Cannon. Another 15% extra damage, but it does decrease armor and resistances by 10. So if you do fancy swapping off the Unstable Anomaly, I'd probably go for that one. But you know, you do proc this from time to time because even with the 80% and the Tal's 4-piece bonus, there are still a lot of things that will hurt you in the game. So up to you, totally personal preference. Now lastly, legendary gems. We're going to be taking a Bane of the Trapped. This is a close range build and we will obviously be activating this all the time, so extra damage is really nice. We're also going to take a Bane of the Powerful. The extra elite damage is really handy. We want to be putting elites down as quickly as possible. This will allow us to spam Explosive Blast and have mega damage and teleport really quickly. The damage reduction is also pretty handy. And then for the T16 version, we're going to go with a Boon of the Hoarder. This is just for gold so that we can empower our rifts, and also we get a 30% move speed whenever we pick up gold. Unfortunately, we can't work an Avarice Band in, so the auto pickup isn't there. You're just going to have to rely on your pet. And if you do go for speed rifting, I would probably switch out the Boon of the Hoarder for the Wreath of Lightning. It's just going to proc us for move speed, so a rank 25 one will be absolutely fine. You don't need to have it ranked up, and that will kind of offset the move speed loss from taking out the Boon of the Hoarder. But by all means, you could put in a Gokok for Swiftness to get even more cooldown, or you can maybe even try an Esoteric Alteration or a Gizzard or some other form of defense gem. But I tend to like the Wreath of Lightning because I do like running really fast. So in terms of the gameplay, in the background we've been doing 75s and T16s. Now I was using the full amount of Paragon, but this gear that I've got is generally pretty crappy. I think I've got an ancient weapon, ancient offhand, and then the rest of this gear is completely non-ancient and nothing really special. So I suppose ancient restraint, and that's about it. So I've got about 11 and a half main stat, so it's not too much. And obviously you might want to keep playing this into the season, you might want to gear yourself onto something else, but at least if you get the pieces, you can go for it. And in terms of playstyle, I numlock Explosive Blast, I also numlock Diamond Skin, and then I activate Force Weapon, and then I just teleport around and make sure that I'm left clicking, right clicking every so often to proc the Bastions of Will, and then I just teleport around till I find my first elite pack. Once that's been murdered, you then move on to the next one. Obviously pick up your DBs, rinse and repeat. So as I say guys, this build is a lot of fun. I used to play it a lot with the Sages set. I've personally found since T16 has been added to the game that there's no need for the Sages set anymore, and we can simply just go by with the Death's Breath that the game drops, as we don't have to go out of our way to get any extra ones. So I suppose the only other thing is gem wise, obviously speed build, so topaz in the pants and in the chest piece, and then we're also going to be taking a cooldown gem in the helm. Now we'll put a D3 planner link in the description with all the stats, but realistically you want fire as your element of choice on your braces and amulet. You want cooldown absolutely everywhere you can get it. So I've got 68%, which sounds a lot, but it's just pretty much cooldown in most of the main places. Generally for T16, area damage is going to serve you pretty well as well. Don't need to worry too much about attack speed, so crits, cooldown, area damage, all really nice. Now you can actually get explosive blast damage on your chest piece and on your shoulders, so ideally you'd want both of those because it's a further modifier to your damage. So yeah, if you could get them on your shoulders, it'll be good. So last thing to mention I suppose is the Oggild set and the Crimson set are both craftable, so all you have to do is find the plans. Now I know some people really struggled with this last season, so apologies in advance to anybody who is struggling to get them on season. It's just RNG. If you just keep going, you will eventually get them to drop, and if you're one of the lucky ones, maybe it dropped in the first few bounties that you did. But that's it guys, that's the build. A lot of fun, really do enjoy it, enjoy playing it quite a lot. So I hope you liked the video. If you have, leave me a thumbs up, and I will catch you in the future for some more Season 19 videos. Take it easy. Peace.
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
With